Oh my God. I cannot even believe the amount of shit that's happened in the past like week and a half at this point. So I've been on vacation with my family up in the Northwoods, up at my cabin in northern Wisconsin for the last week. And every single time I'd look at the headlines in the morning, I would grind my teeth, I would bite my tongue, and I would hold my breath, just thinking about the amount of things that have happened and how I just couldn't even cover them. So today we have a lot of catching up to do. Obviously, a ton has happened since I've last made a video. Obviously, Trump and Putin had a meeting last Friday talking about the ceasefire that never happened. He's had multiple slip ups on national television. So without further ado, let's just get into it, guys. So.
Right now, I do want to get right back into your headlines as we take a live look over the White House at this hour here. President Trump does say that Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky are unlikely to become, quote unquote, best friends, but that the two leaders are getting along, quote, a little better than he thought. Trump made the comments today while speaking over the phone with Fox and Friends, adding that Putin and Zelensky are, quote, doing okay.
They are absolutely not doing okay. Literally the day after they had the meeting with Trump and Putin in Alaska, Russia decided to strike Ukraine for like the millionth time. So clearly, whatever that meeting had to do with, I mean, obviously nothing even came of it, but they are not on good terms right now whatsoever. If you were best friends, you wouldn't strike their country. Like, what are you even talking about?
President Trump explained that he started working on arrangements for a face-to-face meeting between the two leaders. But in the meantime, Russia has ramped up its attack on Ukraine in the air and on the front line.
Then why would he just say that they were actually on fair terms or fairly good terms? I mean, like I said before, I mean, it sounds so ironic that they would say, oh yeah, they've ramped up the attacks on Ukraine, yet Trump continues to say that the relationship is semi-okay, but...
I do want to bring in Alex Hogan with Fox News, joining us now live to talk much more about the situation unfolding there. Alex, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Obviously, a lot to talk about.
Hi, Josh. Thanks for having me. So, yes, as we're looking at these diplomatic efforts in Washington and really globally at this point to try to bring the war to an end, it's a very different story playing out on the front lines in Ukraine and across the country. Russia overnight carried out one of its largest airstrikes in the last month, doubling the number of attacks that we had seen in the night prior on the eve of these peace talks that were set to take place yesterday in Washington. So Ukraine's Air Force says that Russia launched as many as 270 drones overnight, as many as 10 missiles, some of those damaging homes, energy infrastructure. People woke up this morning out of power because of those strikes on the energy infrastructure. Overall, Ukrainians today are looking at the talks that took place in Washington, hopeful but skeptical at the same time as to whether or not peace is really on the horizon. Take a listen.
It amazes me the amount of contrast between one side and the other. Obviously, you have reality, which is nothing even happened in that meeting. Trump said it was a 10 out of 10 meeting, even though he said on the plane boarding to go to Alaska that he would be really angry if nothing came about it. And go figure, nothing even happened. No concessions were made. No ceasefire. No deal. No nothing. And then he walks out saying it was a 10 out of 10 meeting. Like... I just don't understand anymore how these Republicans and conservatives can somehow rationalize and justify his behavior and say that he's still doing the right thing, saying he's a strong leader, saying he's trying his best to promote peace and ceasefire. If Donald Trump was doing his best to promote peace, if he was the peacemaker, if he was a true peacemaker president, then he would have put on maximum threats to Putin. If you want any sort of deal to be done, the first step would be to threaten him, to gain leverage on him, not to hand him a gift, not to call him Your Excellency, which is exactly what he did. We know this because the whole Trump administration's paperwork was leaked, because this is such an incredibly sloppy administration that they literally left the papers that they were going to left the instruction papers for Putin in the printer of the hotel that they were staying at in Alaska. Now, I just want to say, can you imagine if the Biden administration or just Biden himself did something like this? I cannot even imagine the amount of backlash we'd be receiving from obviously people on the right, but even people on the left. But for some reason, Donald Trump can do no wrong. When his supporters see what a horrible job he's doing, they somehow think in their brains that he is just the greatest. He has the best deal-making powers, and he can do no wrong. So, let's continue.
It doesn't smell like peace yet. I don't think Putin will go for it. He's not that kind of person. I have hope Putin would do it, and I think he could be forced to. There are resources in America to influence him. After all, it's a powerful country.
Today, the so-called Coalition of the Willing, they gathered. They say that their teams are going to meet with U.S. counterparts in the days to come to discuss what is next for Ukraine in terms of security guarantees. There was another meeting that also took place among European leaders today. This was virtually. The president of the European Council, he said that while Ukraine's military will need to be the first line of defense if it is attacked in the future after some kind of peace agreement, that these European leaders do need to come up with some kind of safety guards, whether or not it looks something similar to NATO's Article 5. That has yet to be seen, but those are the discussions that are taking place today. At the same time, the European Union says that a new sanctions package, as of today, they've announced that there is going to be a new sanctions package that will be ready to hit Russia next month. Josh.
And Alex, I did want to ask you, because one thing you talked about there was security. And we heard President Trump ask this question quite a lot about U.S. troops and whether they would be involved. And right now, you're understanding here that it sounds that U.S. troops would not be on the ground there in Ukraine.
That's correct. So we also just heard minutes ago, Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, come out speaking to reporters, once again reiterating that President Trump's stance is that there will not be U.S. troops on the ground. There's a lot of questions of what exactly would security look like? What would security...
Not to pause it, but like, I doubt that would ever even happen in a realistic case. Donald Trump is in no way gonna ever allow U.S. troops to go over there. He's made it abundantly clear that he wants to end the war, that he thinks it's a waste of time, that he thinks it's a waste of our money, even though we're not even directly sending money to them, and instead we're mostly sending stockpiled equipment from the 1990s. But regardless, what he is doing is not how you end a war. It's not how you create ceasefire. Instead, Donald Trump is rolling out the red carpet for Putin to come on our land, break international law, and dictate how we run our elections. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but basically, we have some insider info that, well, not insider anymore, but that Putin was telling Donald Trump that you can't win a free and fair election if you have mail-in ballots and mail-in voting. Now, we all know this is absolutely ridiculous. Mail-in ballot voting is one of the safest forms of voting that you can get. And it's funny coming from somebody who literally wins his elections every single time. We know Putin is a fraud. We know he's fake. He somehow wins 90% of the votes every single time. Yet he's telling us, the United States of America, a democratic nation, a democracy, how to run our elections, which is just insane to me. So whatever, let's watch a little bit more here, and then we'll move on to something else.
Guarantees look like for Ukraine, and if other allies are willing to support Ukraine in that, what is going to have to come to fruition to be able to bring something to the table? Because otherwise, why would Ukraine sign on to some kind of peace agreement knowing in the future it could be attacked again, especially if it's even considering forfeiting territory, which again is a large chunk of territory at this point that Russia occupies. Russia occupies about 1/5 of Ukraine, and despite the fact that the territory that we're looking at has been contested for years now, there have been large evacuations. Still, some people do remain in that area. These are the kinds of questions that Ukrainian leaders are going to be mulling over. And at the same time, we have two different scenarios that are playing out. We have President Trump and the White House and the administration working to try to broker some of these conversations to move forward between the Ukrainians and the Russians. At the same time, European leaders are holding their own discussions because while they do want these conversations over here to continue to progress, they're being realistic in the idea that if nothing does happen, they want Russia to see more sanctions to try to bring the fighting to an end.
And my
Josh.
last question here before I let you go, there's also been a lot of discussion. We know that
All right, so I guess I just wanted to move on real quick to one of the YouTube channels that I've been consistently following. She doesn't make too many videos necessarily, but I see her posts just about every single day. Don't worry, I'm not subscribed to her. I would never give somebody like this any more of a platform than she needs to, but I just wanted to bring your attention to this. So she makes a post about every single day, actually like several posts. And yesterday she made one that really, really made me angry. So in this she said, "Wow, this meeting was way different than the first Oval Office incident. They are like bros now." They are absolutely not like bros now. If they were like bros, Donald Trump would have gained leverage in the meeting in Alaska. He would have pushed sanctions on Russia, and he would have inflicted maximum damage to Putin. They, these two are the opposite of bros. They're not even frenemies. They are just straight up enemies. So to see this is just ridiculous. And what's even sadder is to see how many people in the comment sections just fall for it. You know what? I'm not even going to entertain this, but you guys can go there on your own, but I want to bring your attention to a couple other posts she made. So then she said, "Scenes from the Oval Office on a historic day." This supposed historic day was one of the most embarrassing Oval Office meetings I've ever seen in my entire life. Donald Trump literally started talking about the president of Finland when he was sitting right in front of him. Right in front of him. It was one of the biggest moments of cognitive decline in Donald Trump that I've seen in a while. He's really looking like Joe Biden in a way, and he's looking out asking, "Oh, where is he? Where is he?" And he goes, "I'm right here, right in front of him." Now, once again, I just want to point out, if this had happened to Biden, if Biden had left all the secret papers of this top secret meeting in Alaska in a hotel printer for everybody or just some random person to pick up, if Biden had addressed the president of Finland, who was sitting right in front of him, not even knowing he was there, can you imagine the backlash we would have faced? Can you imagine? I just can't even. I can't even fathom how much pushback we would have received from conservatives and even people in the middle, even independents, even people on the left. So to see this and to see his supporters champion him as this peacemaker is just disgusting in my opinion. So last but not least, I wanted to bring to your attention this, which just happened about an hour ago, and it just made me a little bit happy because every single time I wake up, I just gnaw my teeth because I'm just so fed up, I'm so angry, I'm so tired of this ridiculousness, which is exactly why I'm starting up this channel, by the way. If you like this video so far, like, subscribe, share, comment down below, hit that notification bell. With you, we can grow this community of resistance, so thank you. Anyway, back to this. So this Fox News video says, "Vance and Hegseth heckled by protesters to visit D.C. National Guard." So let's take a look. It's so funny to me to see them both smiling, as if nothing's going on, as if they're the stupid ones, as if they're the naive ones, they're the ones being ridiculous and unreasonable. But the American people are slowly but surely showing up. They are showing J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth that we're not going to take their crap. We are enlightened. We are informed. We see right through the BS that you guys push every single day, and I love that.
All right, a look at Union Station there. Vice President Vance, Defense Secretary Hegseth met with National Guard troops who are stationed there as part of this crackdown on crime in the nation's capital. The VP addressed the administration's effort to try and tamp down on some of the crime, at least in Washington. Take a listen.
You look at what's happened in Washington, D.C. in just the past 9 days. We've seen a 35% reduction in violent crime. We've seen over a 50% reduction in robberies. We are seeing really substantial effects because these guys are busting their ass. So I want to come here and highlight what they're doing.
No, nobody, not to pause the video once again, but nobody quote me on this, but I am pretty sure that DC has like one of the lowest crime rates that they've had in 30 years, and one of the lowest crime rates in general across the entire country. And that is why it's so ridiculous for us to champion this when there are so many other places that could use this kind of thing. And I'm not even saying they should necessarily. I think it's ridiculous to put in 250 National Guards just to lower the crime rate, to kick out homeless people. I think it's disgusting and despicable, but having that in mind, I guess it's just funny because I saw a headline earlier that Brett Baer from Fox News, who's been a long-time conservative, big-time media personality, got pulled over in his car by the very same DC agents that are taking over Washington right now. And so they're getting a taste of their own medicine, and I don't think they're liking it. Brett Baer will continue to go on Fox News, and he'll continue to, rant about his BS, and he'll continue to support Donald Trump to the grave. But I can't help but feel that they are feeling a little bit of the pressure now because it's affecting them. It's not just affecting illegal immigrants at this point. It's not just affecting Democrats, it's affecting them as well. So
Obviously pass out a few burgers, but most of all, just send a message to the American people.
All right, David Spunt was there. He is now back here in the newsroom to tell us all about what went down. Hey, David.
Well, hey, Jillian, this was an unannounced visit, but several hundred protesters seemed to find out about this before it even happened. And to be clear, protesters at Union Station are not unusual. Many hang out there all day, and they have for years, and they find that area good to protest. So they happen to be there when the Vice President and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth walked in. We can't even air all of the video because some of the language is just so vulgar for our viewers, but you can see them walking in. They walked in. They met probably for about 25 or 30 minutes with members of the National Guard, also White House senior aide Stephen Miller there as well, thanking those National Guard troops that have been in D.C. We know they're from Mississippi, Ohio, West Virginia, South Carolina, and some other states will be added to the mix soon. But here's more from the Vice President and Defense Secretary about why.
I know it's going to sound cheesy coming from me, but this is exactly what democracy looks like. When you have an authoritarian dictatorship or an authoritarian regime who's putting out ridiculous policies every single day, the people absolutely have the right to use their First Amendment rights of freedom of speech and show up. And this is exactly what's happening right now. And it makes me feel good because it makes me feel like I'm not all alone. I'm not on an island. There are other like-minded individuals, especially possibly even Gen Z, which is what I'm a part of, that see through this crap and see that it's ridiculous and we can't let them win at every single thing. So I think I'm going to leave it at there, guys. I mean, I think you get the point. I'm going to try to keep my videos fairly short. So once again, if you like this, if you want more of these videos, please let me know down in the comment sections. This is once again kind of something I'm exploring for the future. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'll try to put out some more content this week and maybe even another video today. We'll see. And until then, take it easy. Bye. Okay, I guess I did lie a little bit. The video's not quite over yet, but I just wanted to say that if you have anything you want me to cover, if you have anything that you think would be fun to talk about, please email me at evanmichaelsullivan@gmail.com. I'll have the email in the description. Otherwise, thank you, and once again, for real this time, take it easy. Bye.